From Mediaite, Trump vows to withhold SNAP benefits until the government is reopened. Looks like November is going to be reduced benefits. That's what they announced. But Trump doesn't want to give any more until they reopen government. I actually think the call sheet prediction for 45 days is probably wrong. To be fair, maybe I should, I always talk about how maybe I should buy stock because we often have access to knowledge and stuff before people because we're reading the news all the time. But I've heard from people in government it's going to be close till Christmas. The expectation among staff is that they're going to be furloughed till Christmas. So one more month of no benefits. But Democrats, now that they've extracted all of the value they can out of this, they'll probably just come out, I'd imagine, right, and say, okay, sure, fine. Because what people need to understand about the government shutdown, it is the Biden continuing resolution. Mm-hmm. Republicans said, we agree to Biden's funding. And the Democrats went, nah. And Republicans were like, what do you mean? This is just Biden's administration. This is his funding proposal. We're agreeing with it. And they're like, we want more.
Yeah, they want to extend the tax subsidies for the Obamacare and illegal immigrants that they first put into place with the American Rescue Plan Act and then extended with the Inflation Reduction Act, which, as they said, was the biggest climate change legislation in history.
It was the Green New Deal.
That's all it was.
That's all it was.
Isn't this whole thing a great opportunity for the churches? That right now, if you have all these people that have been reliant on SNAP for food, that the churches could position themselves to get people to show up. And I do wish right-wing America would think more in these terms. Well, some of these things might be hard to pull off. Every one of these things that happen, the government shutdown, the SNAP benefits being taken away temporarily, are massive opportunities to win at the grassroots level. And ultimately, the only way to win politically is to be strong enough at the grassroots level that you force the political class to respect you, because ultimately they only respond to money, power, and influence, and you have to have that to get them to do what you want them to do.
Go ahead.
So do you think that, so for the churches right now, so I have seen videos of churches getting more, people coming through for these types of things. Do you think there will be growth there?
I think there's an opportunity for it. And I have a megaphone right now, and I hope that pastors that are listening to and churches that are listening right now see this for the opportunity it is, because I think a lot of people have been trained to think that they can't do what seem to be incredible things, but you look what you guys have built here. I mean, this is incredible, honestly. And I've met a lot of people that have done really amazing things. I've done some pretty cool things. And with each one of, with everything that happens is a new opportunity. And if we could train people to see those opportunities, we can make some inroads at the grassroots level. And ultimately, that's how you win.
Yeah, I mean, I think in theory, what you're talking about is great. I just don't know that there's enough churches that are going to be that are kind of on the ball enough to be like, okay, let's jump on this opportunity.
Well, you have to be set up for that, and there's a lot of churches that are set up for that, and I think that there's a lot of churches that are engaged and helping in their communities.
You think that they have the capacity to fill the gap that the government has left? I don't, because that's my point.
Filling the gap the government has left, that's like $41 trillion dollars. What is it? It's like $9 billion a month in
the
SNAP
church
benefits.
The church isn't trying to solve all the government's problems. They're trying to help,
No, but a lot of churches are set up with, food banks and things.
But even with just announcing a food drive, when people suddenly don't have access to the food they had access to, you get people to show up that day. And when they show up that day, you could have conversations with them and you could let them know what you do and let them know that, hey, we'll be doing this again next weekend. And if you show up, and we'll feed you and we'll talk to you about our beliefs, and you'll find out that the people that you heard are these monsters are actually these really kind people. And then we could talk to you about why we have the views that we have. And I know that when you were in the school system, these views were framed as being monstrous, right? For example, feminism in the school system, they teach these kids that they don't want you to have abortions because there's a patriarchy and misogyny. And that's where you get all these celebrations from someone like Charlie Kirk getting shot, because the young people have been taught that people that hold these ideologies are filled with hate. And by getting in front of people and talking them face to face and helping them in their time of need, you could start to swing people that you think you wouldn't be able to swing in your direction, but you'd be amazed what those face-to-face interactions could do. And if I could add one more thing, before the nanny state took over, before the government came in and said, we'll be daddy, when a woman gave birth out of wedlock, which was rarer, it was the churches and community groups that stepped in and took care of people. And if we ultimately want to get off this tax system, we have to start building the infrastructure that we could point to and show people and say, listen, if you abandon this nanny state, we have a safety blanket here for you. And then we could lower the taxes. Then we could create opportunity. And I can show you hope. And I know you can, because I've showed a lot of people hope. And then you can take that hope and you can build a better life for you and your family.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that's a great idea. One of the problems that we have is that church attendance has been in such decline. Religion has been under attack, specifically Christianity has been under attack. And you have the Democrats have rather successfully put together a plan where the government will partner with an individual throughout their entire life. So it is important, I think, to make sure that the churches are robust and that these places of faith are strong. And I certainly applaud that. And I hope that, I hope that the religious community is taking heed of that. I'm not sure how we combat the Democrat messaging that has ruined God, has replaced the soul with gender, and has replaced family with government.
Yeah, I think you're right to the point where it's like getting those face-to-face interactions are key in a lot of ways. It's so much easier to reach a person when you talk to them face-to-face. Like when you're having those, you could have all the positive interactions with somebody online that won't speak to most people the same way that having somebody show to themselves to be a completely different human being than what they've been told they would be their whole lives by the school system, what that could do for those people.
Just a heads up, I just got a warning for a severe thunderstorm. If the power goes out, we have generators, but maybe the show just disappears. Maybe we go
Maybe
home
nothing
early.
happened.
Maybe we play some video games.
Maybe the thunderstorm actually just jumps over us.
I would be stuck here for a while.
Well, it's only going to be like 15, 20 minutes.
good.
It's, it's just
passing through.
But we have backup
Saying
power
you
generators.
have to entertain me somehow.
But I figured my phone just went off, and I was like, oh boy, look at that. So, who knows? Who knows? In the meantime, end all welfare benefits, end all subsidies, and abolish government, period.
Yeah, I love that. I don't understand exactly what the point of withholding SNAP benefits when the government shut down and they're not giving them out anyways.
What I don't get is why you would, some of these people you've seen the videos, there's now EBT of TikTok. Have you guys seen this?
Funny.
Which is great. What was funny is Mike Cernovich posted, someone should do SNAP benefits of TikTok. And then 2 days later, there it was,
Yeah.
But the EBT of TikTok, you'll see people being like, I've been on these benefits for 30 years. This is how I feed my 6 kids. I don't have a job because I have 6 kids. And I'm thinking if you have put your ability to be sustained in the hands of government, don't be surprised when the government starves you. Why are you giving someone else control over whether you eat or not? That is insane.
Well, if they riot, maybe they actually haven't given control to anyone. Maybe they actually are the ones that have the control.
Yeah.
You have enough people. It's like when, if you owe the bank $100,000, that's your problem. If you owe the bank $1 billion, that's the bank's problem. It's kind of the same thing. If you have one person that the government is paying for their SNAP benefits and you turn it off, that's that person's problem. When you have 40 million people and you turn off the SNAP benefits, that's the government's problem.
It's $9 billion a month. I think that I doubt I was the only person who was surprised that it was
$9 billion?
Yeah, $9 billion a month. I was surprised that it was that much, that it's that many people who are collecting these benefits and don't have jobs, and don't work. Everyone I've known who's been on food assistance, it's always been either they're between jobs or their job just isn't enough and they're looking for more work or something like that. But they're always hustling. They're always trying to better their lives and grateful that there's assistance temporarily available. It's not I've never considered it as something that's a lifestyle choice where you're just going to be subservient to the government in that way for your entire life.
It was 12% of Americans are on SNAP benefits. It's 40 million or something like that.
That's a lot.
40 million people, yeah.
Back in 2020, when COVID was going on, I saw that they tried to leverage debt and food over people. Mm-hmm. And
you mean like with the student loans and stuff?
Well, people had to pay their mortgages. So when you tell someone that their job is unessential and they have a mortgage and they could lose their home, well, to them, that's very essential. And then people had to go to the grocery store to get food. So they said that if you want to come to this grocery store, you have to wear a mask. And my response to that was I sold my home on Long Island, where my family was from, and I moved my family, my children, across the country, my wife, my children, and we moved into a forest, and we started a homestead, and we did it all with no debt, and we started growing our own food. I've made an orchard since then. I have a big garden.
You have an orchard?
Yeah, built it
That's
myself.
Awesome.
And the reason I did that is I saw that the government tries to or can leverage control over you through food dependence and through debt. So the response was, let's not have debt and let's make sure we're not dependent on them for food. And this could be done on a much larger level, but it has to be done through culture. And everyone in America has front yards. Well, instead of front yards with grass, let's normalize front yards with gardens. And through every step of the way,
Victory garden.
Like the Victory Garden. And through every step of the way, when you do these things, you grow more powerful. And as you become less dependent, you become more independent. And as you become more independent, they have to respect what you say more, and your vote and your voice starts to mean more. And all of these things can be done. People just need a little shift in how they view the world.
Well, that type of what's the idea of the rugged American individualism is kind of lost these days.
You should see my students.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I do think that Brett's got a point. Like the idea of rugged individualism, the idea that people can go out and do things, that is becoming further and further, or becoming more and more rare. People look to government, people look to someone else to provide for them, whether that be, having the mindset of having a job, or the mindset of looking to government for some kind of support or whatever. It takes a special kind of person to say, I'm going to go out and do something.
It's not a lot of people.
What?
That's not a lot of people.
No, it's not a lot of people.
Not a huge percent of the population.
No, it's not at all. And it takes, like I said earlier, it takes a type of personality to do that. And if you don't have a society that fosters those people and tries to encourage them, which I don't think we do anymore.
No, they don't.
Then it becomes even more infrequent and even more rare. And I would love to see the people that do go out and put the effort into do that. I would love to see them succeed and have become millionaires or billionaires and what have you. But I think the without that kind of mindset being held in high esteem, we're going to continue to have fewer and fewer people that will actually go out there and try to be entrepreneurs.
There are people that believe that that's becoming more common in Gen Z. Is first of all, the main your typical job economy is gone. It's gig economy. Kids want to be influencers and they want to go and create online, which is in line with that idea, maybe not in the same realm of building your own orchard, but being your own boss, creating your own content, being the person who gets yourself, ad reads and paychecks and things like that, and not relying on a boss. But that's out of a sense of necessity because a job isn't going to provide for them the way that they feel like they can if they're going out and betting on themselves. So there is the possibility that down the line, perhaps that becomes more common, just not in a more traditional sense.
Well, the other thing is that people haven't been having enough children for generations. And although we can't reach everyone, for example, you have Timcast and you have the people that are watching right now. Well, these are good people. These are smart people. These are awake people. And to convince those people that you can reject the materialistic life, because if you ever go to a nursing home, I've never been to a nursing home, spoken to an old person, they told me about how nice their bag was or how nice their car was. They talk about their children, they talk about their grandchildren. And by showing people that and convincing them to have more kids themselves and to raise their kids right, you could actually start to have this culture that brews from the grassroots level of young people who start to see their power. And with that, you get lots of people who don't feel dependent on the system, and that culture starts to grow, it seeds, and we have the ability to do that, and I think we will.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.